This video we're going to talk about what to tow behind our RV, and they call that a towed vehicle because it's being towed, which is part of the lingo we're learning in the RV world. Just like you call it an RV and not a camper, it's an RV, and it's kind of handy to know that terminology whenever you're doing a search. But we were doing our research to try to figure it out, and we thought, well, why don't we just get a dolly or a trailer and pull the vehicle behind whatever we want to pull, just use the vehicles we already have. And then if you're looking at this space here, there's not enough room to park a dolly plus the vehicle. And in some states, you must have brakes on every wheel that's on the ground, especially if you're going over the mountains. And so those state laws are going to be an issue. So we're back to deciding what we can get that we can flat tow. And we looked at the lists, and I'll post some links down below. But these lists were not really as inclusive as we wanted them to be. So I also was surprised to find out that my European sports car, even though it was a manual transmission, couldn't be flat towed because apparently the engine runs the oil pump that lubricates the transmission. This is pretty common with foreign cars. So we're back to the standard, the Jeep, but not the one you might think. We're looking at older two-door Jeeps because they're cheaper and they're probably more reliable than some of the things we've read. So I'll also post a link talking about which years are the best. Then the Lincoln MKZ has been one of my favorites out there for a mid-size car that has plenty of power with this 3.0 turbo and the full trunk space, because I had a hybrid before that took up a lot of the trunk space in my MKZ. So this time around I'm getting one with a full-size trunk and full horsepower that usually only comes with all-wheel drive. So I did find a bit of a unicorn that's just two-wheel drive with that powerful engine, and I'm happy to have discovered that was available to me out there. It took some searching. This is a 2017, and they quit making these in 2020. But it's the same flat platform as the Ford Fusion. This was not on the list, as I said, of the cars that you can choose that will be flat towable, but it actually is, and I'm happy about that. So the Ford Fusion, and then an even bigger surprise is if you want to go even larger, which we did not. We ended up getting this white car you're looking at here, is the Lincoln Continental with even bigger trunk space and even more headroom in the back seat. But that's not what we ended up choosing. But it's a beautiful car, and to have a platform like this available for flat towing, it should really be on every list out there. Everyone who's looking for what to tow next, they're seeing the same short list of which vehicles will work and which ones won't. And I think you're getting shortchanged out there. At least we were, until we went beyond what we just found from these campground journals, or whatever you want to call them, these websites where they recommend how you should gear up. And I don't know why they're overlooking these the Ford Fusion platform with the Continental and the MKZ. Look at the Continental here, this red one, is a beautiful car. It's even heavier. But that's something that also we happen to have a big engine in our rig, and maybe use, you might not want to use the same weight vehicle. We can pull 10,000 pounds behind us if we want to. So why compromise too much? But at the same time, we're going to get some rock chips in that vehicle back there. So it can't be, your dream car like this Continental. We're priced out of that. I'd like to have it, but why spend the money for something we're going to pull? Whereas the MKZ is super nice in my estimation. I got a 20,000 mile 2017 that is going to perform well for me, and I'm not going to worry too much about it. Plus, being white, I found that you can touch up white easier than any other color. This red would be very difficult to make it look right if you had to repair a rock chip, and that's going to be pretty likely whenever you're dragging it around the country. But tell me what you're finding out there and help teach us. The third one is what my wife has been wanting, which is the RAV4. She has a Nissan Rogue right now, but it's not a Toyota. She doesn't really feel like it's going to be long-term reliable. I think she has 60,000 miles now on her Rogue, so it's time to switch to something that we can use long-term. And Toyota has always been super reliable. These RAV4s, we just discovered that if you get the two-wheel drive version, it can be flat-towed. But most of the ones that have all the features that she wants end up being the all-wheel drive version, and that's that's not going to work because it has to be a two-wheel drive version in order to flat tow it. But again, this wasn't on most lists. We just saw it pop up on the list just very recently here, and we're encouraged if we can find, again, the unicorn, kind of like the MKZ. We got the unicorn as the big engine I want, and the power. By the way, those MKZs, I heard the 4-cylinder turbos are a problem. They crack pistons and things like that. So it's the 2.0 turbo is just something to avoid, and you'll want to research that yourself as well. But it's unfortunate, and also the all-wheel drive is something to avoid on both those cars. So I hope this is helpful to you, and if you have information that you can share with us that'll be helpful to us, we'd certainly appreciate it. And as you can see, there's barely room for those two dogs there. There's not much room for a trailer or a dolly or anything at these RV parks that we're going to frequent. So we're going to have to flat tow something, and so far we bought the Lincoln, and we're looking at Jeeps.